believe it's going to pop up now. I just told it to share. Maybe it didn't take. Give me just a sec. Oh, apparently I have a problem with my system permissions allowing me to share my screen. So if you'll bear with me for just a moment, I might need to just share my tab actually. So let me just pull the Jungle Scout tool over into the same window. Just FYI, when I do it this way, I won't be able to actually see the chat at all. So I'm going to try to check it periodically so that if anything goes wrong, I'll be aware of that. But I won't be able to actually see any of your questions. So don't expect me to respond immediately if you do put something up there. Okay, so I've got my Jungle Scout tab. I believe that this is visible now. Okay, so what we're looking at is Jungle Scout's home screen, where you have several widgets that will give you some at-a-glance information about how your business is performing if you've synced your accounts. I mentioned that I would start with that. So if you haven't taken this step yet, it's as easy as going to the top right corner, clicking on your avatar for your account, and then clicking the settings gear. And then once you do that, this page that says Amazon settings is the one that you would click on. I've already taken this step because it's a demo account that you're looking at. And so you can see the account that I've connected on Amazon, which is our North American unified account. And then we also had a European one, but it's currently not connected. And that's just to show you what these different states look like. If you haven't taken this step yet, you'll be presented with a little walkthrough on how to do it. And you just log into your Amazon Seller Central account from within Jungle Scout itself. So once you do that step, you'll see the synchronization status up here. And when it says it's 100% complete, you're good to go. And then you can use all of our tools to the fullest extent according to your plan. So today's tools are product research tools, which can be found over in the left-hand menu. And the first one I always start with is the product database. Now, as I mentioned before, you're not actually searching Amazon's backend, you're searching Jungle Scout's own database. And so this more or less mirrors Amazon's marketplaces, at least for all the ones that we support, which you can find in this drop-down menu here. That being said, it is not identical only because things are always changing on Amazon's end, and it does take time for our side to sync with that. And we also do a little bit of cleanup since there are a lot of incomplete listings or others that are problematic because maybe they're duplicates or they've just been up for a long time, but there's no sales activity on them. So rest assured that when you search our database, you're getting as accurate of information as is available out there. And today I'm going to stick with the US, but if you live in one of these countries, I always recommend that you start with your home country first before deciding to sell internationally. Even if you're located in Canada and you might want to start with the US, I recommend starting in Canada first, just because if you decide to import products and launch them, it's easier to do it in a country that you understand and have familiarity with, rather than trying to learn that process on top of how to sell on Amazon. So today, I'm just going to pick a couple of the categories that Amazon offers for the US marketplace, like baby, pet supplies, maybe automotive. And then over here, these are all filters that will allow me to narrow down my searches for specific products on Amazon. If you are at a loss, you can click this load filter set and it'll come up with some recommendations that we've built for you already. However, if you did want to tweak it yourself, you can do it to your heart's content with these boxes here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will click the standard one just so that we can find the regularly sized products, stuff that would fit in a shoebox and won't cost extra to store in Amazon's warehouses or ship to our customers. And then I will leave all of these blank just because I want to find the largest range of sellers possible. But if you were curious, you could select the Amazon box and then you would only find products that Amazon is actually selling themselves. If you didn't want to look at Amazon's, you could click the FBA and FBM boxes. And these are just third-party sellers like you and me who are using one or two methods of fulfillment, either sending their stock to Amazon's warehouses for Amazon to deliver to the customers, or doing that delivery themselves, whether it's from their own garage or from a third-party storage unit they rent, or maybe even a third-party logistics company that functions very similarly to Amazon, but isn't Amazon themselves. But again, I'm just going to leave these blank. Now, I will highlight a couple of boxes that I think are the most important, but please don't just duplicate my search. Otherwise, you'll get the same results. You'll really want to play around with these numbers and explore different kinds of combinations to unearth the best opportunities for you. But for the minimum price, I do recommend that you look for things selling for at least 25 or even 30 US dollars. Same for euros or any other currency. The numbers are more or less the same. And that's just because anything below that price point is usually not very profitable. It's not as simple as just throwing a listing up on Amazon, because you do need to pay Amazon a referral fee for every item you sell, which is just a commission for getting to use Amazon's platform and benefit from all of their built-in organic traffic. And then, of course, if you're using a fulfillment service, like Amazon, or even paying a third party to do it, you're going to pay shipping costs as well. So you do need to take into consideration all of the costs you'll incur to sell these products. Make sure that you're selling them for a price that will leave you enough margin that you can actually make a profit. And especially with inflation being what it is, I have bumped this up from $20 to $30 now. I also like to see that there is existing demand for these products, and we gauge that by the number of sales that have occurred in the last month. So when we say sales at Jungle Scout, we're always talking about the number of units that sold, not necessarily the revenue itself. And I always look for products that have a minimum of 300 sales in a month, because that represents about 10 units per day. Of course, I'd be interested in products that have higher sales, and so maybe I could bump that number up to find really high demand products. Just know that if there's higher demand, there might likely be higher competition as well. And then speaking of competition, the way that we gauge that on Amazon is via the number of reviews left by customers. When I say reviews, I'm talking about anything, whether it's just a star rating with no comments to a full-blown paragraph with pictures and videos attached to it as well. So I normally try to find products that have no more than 100 reviews. After that point, it's quite difficult to dethrone those products in the search results, but that's not to say that you couldn't. You could put a higher number in if you wanted to, especially if you find that those reviews are kind of middling or negative. That's an opportunity for you to outsell your competitors, but for now, I'm just going to put in 100. The last box that I like to highlight is the LQS, which stands for Listing Quality Score. Now, a moment ago, I explained that you're actually searching Jungle Scout's database. So when we add listings to our database, we actually rank them according to lots of criteria, such as how many photos they're using, how many bullet points they've used, how many characters they've put throughout the listing. And so we can give them a score from 1 to 10, telling you how good a quality this listing is. And so 1 is the worst and 10 would be the best. And I can use these filters to try to find listings that otherwise fulfill the criteria I'm looking for, but might actually be of mediocre or even bad quality. And that could be an opportunity for me to actually build a better listing and then convince more people to buy my product than the people currently selling it on Amazon. So if I put in a 5 or even a 7 as my maximum, now it will only give me results for listings that have a quality score of 1 to 6 or 1 to 7. On the flip side, you could put in a minimum one of like 7 or maybe 8, and then you would only find really good quality listings that you could study as examples of what to do in your own listings. Today, I'm just going to leave that blank though. There are these other filters, like when the product was first made available on Amazon. If you were looking for specific products, you could put in your own keywords or exclude certain keywords as well. And then I also usually like to exclude the top brands, just so that I can find things that aren't already dominating the search results. So when I click search, it's going to sift through millions of products within our database, and it usually does take a moment for it to produce the results, but they will come up in a table that's not sorted in any particular order. But we'll see in just a moment that this table has columns up here, and these columns mostly correspond to the filters up here in the search table. So most of these columns will allow you to sort the table from greatest to smallest using any one of these arrows up here. But it looks like it turned up some sort of random results based on those categories I selected. So we have some wire here, more wire. I mean, it looks like, yeah, this would be like an electronics. So I don't know that I would actually try to source this product, but you never know what it's going to come up here and what might be a good opportunity. Like here, we've got one of these cargo bay liners for the back of a car. That could be an interesting opportunity. It looks like it's doing this exact product with this ASIN on Amazon is doing $111,000 of revenue a month. We don't know exactly what their costs are because we only have access to the data from Amazon itself. So what I love is that these orange numbers here will let me calculate the potential profit I could make if I sold this exact product at this price or if I change the price. So if this seller is using Amazon's fulfillment services, we can see how much it costs for them to ship it from an Amazon warehouse to their customers. We can see what they're paying Amazon as that referral fee that I mentioned. And remember, whether you use Amazon's warehouses or you do it yourself, just by listing your product on Amazon, you're going to pay Amazon a portion of the sale for the benefit of using their platform. So they're paying about $10.80 in referral fees. And then any other fees like storage to Amazon as well will be accounted for. So they're selling these cargo liners for about $80 a piece. I don't know how much it costs to manufacture this, but if I took a guess, I might say they're selling this for like $80. I bet they could obtain these for maybe like $15 to $17 a piece, maybe even 20. I'm just guessing here. If that were true, then at these fees and this selling price, we could potentially make about $44 of profit per sale. Keep in mind, the seller might have other costs that we don't have visibility into, such as maybe they're selling on another channel as well, like a Shopify store, so they're paying a subscription for that. They might be paying for email management software. They might be running Facebook ads. We don't know. So make sure that your potential profit is large enough that it leaves you enough room to play with. But I love that part of the database because it does allow you to kind of do some quick math and see whether it looks like a good opportunity. And then, of course, if I scroll over here, we can see a lot more information that corresponds to the criteria that we put in. But if you wanted to, you could also deselect some of these columns to make the table a little bit less cluttered so you can focus on only the information that you'd like to look at. One more thing is you can see that when I clicked on this product, it actually expanded the row into 2 different rows because it looks like this product comes in 2 different variants. There's different colors available. So I can actually get a breakdown for each one of those. And they're actually selling one of those variants for about $20 less than the other one. So that's good to know. I could add it to my product tracker directly if it looks like an interesting opportunity. And I'm going to jump over to the product tracker in a little bit. Or we could go directly to Amazon with this button and actually see what it looks like there. Now, I will need to actually change my share screen again because I'm using tabs instead of my entire monitor. So if you'll give me just a moment, I'm going to show you the Amazon listing for that product. So as you can see here, when I click that button, it took me straight to the listing on Amazon. I can study the title. I can see what they're writing here with the bullet points. I can see whether they have A+ content, which they do because they have obtained brand registry on Amazon. So that gives them a lot of space here to include more photos and a lot of information. And then down here is just all the technical info about it. So this looks like a pretty good quality listing in my opinion, but I could even, look at the reviews to see what people are saying. When I come to a listing, I always like looking at the negative reviews because if there is a problem with the product, then it's going to crop up multiple times. And that is a key point to take into consideration when we decide to manufacture the product ourselves. That way we can improve that product and then win over those disaffected customers. Now, while we're on Amazon itself, I'm going to take the opportunity to show you our next tool, which is the extension. The extension is just a plugin for either your Chrome or your Mozilla Firefox browser. It is actually separate from the Jungle Scout web app where we started. So you will need to go to either the Chrome store or the Mozilla store and actually add it to your browser. And then once you do that, you'll want to pin it to the top, which I've done here. You'll have to log into Jungle Scout from the extension itself. But then once you do that, you will see these widgets appear on